Today I want to show you how I created this super easy Shadowbox gift card holder. I thought this turned out really cute. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm starting out with a piece of paper that measures 7.5 by 9. And I am using cardstock for this. I feel like the thicker cardstock, the better. It makes your box a little bit more sturdy. So then I'm just going to use my Shadowbox punch board to create the box. So I'm just putting my paper into the punch board and I'm scoring on all 4 sides. So you just keep turning your paper. So on the punch board, there are measurements on how to create square shadow boxes, and there are no measurements for rectangles, but you can create a rectangular shadow box as well. So that's what this one's going to be to hold a gift card. And so I just did the math and figured out what size would fit a gift card really well. And so I thought today I would just give you the measurements so that you don't have to figure out all of those measurements. You can just create your Shadowbox gift card holder. So just like all the other shadow boxes, if you've seen my other video, I'm just putting my paper into the punch now, and I'm punching each end. So you'll only want to punch 2 ends. So I'm going to punch one end and then I'm going to punch the opposite end from that. So you don't want to punch all the sides, just the two ends opposite of each other. And when you punch it, you have to punch it twice. You slide it in, punch once, and then slide it in again and punch another time. And this is what you should have now. So you can see where the 2 opposite ends are punched and then the other 2 sides are left unpunched. So I'm just going to go ahead and fold in on all of my score lines, and I'm folding in towards the center of my box. And I like to fold all of these in before I start gluing so that everything has already got a crease in it and is pressed down pretty good. And so I just go around all the edges doing that because we're going to roll this in to make our shadow box. Now this Shadowbox punch board is so easy to use, which if you watch my other video about the Shadowbox punch board, I love We Are Makers punch boards. I love the envelope punch board and all the different ones, and I have several, and I love to play with them because it makes the project so easy. And so I'm not sponsored by them or affiliated with them, but when I saw this, that it came out, I was like, I have to have one. So I did order myself one back in July, and I'm just getting around to really playing with it a lot, but it is so easy. The hardest part about this project was figuring out my measurements, which it didn't take long at all to figure that out. But I thought I would just share the measurements with you all so you don't have to take time to do the math and figure it out. And I know some people don't like doing math, and fractions really hang them up. And so there was fractions in this one. So hopefully you'll enjoy this project and you'll give it a try if you have a punch board. I know that in my last video, several of you said that you have the Shadowbox punch board. So hopefully this will give you another project to create with it. So you can see here, just in case you don't have the punch board and you haven't seen this before, you can see that the angled ends, the ends that we punched, I've gone ahead and I'm just gluing the bottom part that's going to attach to our box. And what you want to do is you want to line that little bottom piece up with the score line, the last score line that we created next to the edge there. Hopefully that makes sense. And so we're just folding that in. And then I do use my scoring tool to press inside there to hold the pieces down. And now this is the punched edge. So what I'm going to do is for this one, I just put it inside of those angled edges and then I press it flat to get it to glue down to the inside of the box. And so I'm just adding glue to the last little edge there, and then I just roll it over and then just press it down so that it attaches to the inside of the box. That's what seems to work for me. Now, as I've been playing with the Shadowbox punch board, I've been trying different, because I've never really created shadow boxes before. I've been trying different ways to put these 2 edges in. So in my previous video, I glued one side, held it, and then glued the other side. But today I'm going to try something a bit different. I'm going to add glue to both sides before I press them in. But I also decided I wanted to try a little bit of double-sided tape to see if that would help hold it while the glue is drying. I didn't really see a big improvement with it. I felt like I still had to hold it just as long. So the tape didn't really grab for me. Maybe I didn't put it in the exact right spot, but I'm not sure that it's worth the extra trouble unless I figure out how to get it in the exact right spot and get it to hold. But as I try, I'll let you know if I do find a way to make it work. I was just trying to find a way that it would hold itself together till the glue dried, so I didn't have to sit and hold it for so long. But you really don't hold it a long time, but it depends on your glue, how long your glue takes to dry. So it might just be best to be using a faster drying glue for this project, and maybe I need to consider that. This glue takes a little bit to dry, which is great. That's why I use it, is because sometimes I'll put things in the wrong spot and I like to be able to move it. And for some reason with these corners, I'm finding that it takes longer to dry or longer to hold on. And I guess because these corners are trying to pull back away from it, because when you glue paper down, it doesn't seem to move once you press it. But for this, I can't really press it hard, for one thing, because I don't want to dent my corners. But also, I feel like it's the pulling back of the corners is why it takes a while to get these edges to stick together. Now, you do want to clean up any glue that you have ooze out. You can see that I did that, and do that pretty quick so that it doesn't dry there. This glue dries. It doesn't dry matte. It kind of dries glossy. So I do try to clean it up as much as possible. And anything that stays, I'll use my glue eraser to remove later on. So I'm just going to hold this until I feel like it's dry enough that I can move on to the next step. And then I will move on and create the rest of the box. Okay, so it's been a few minutes, and so I've given it some time to dry. So now I'm just going to add a piece of decorative paper to the inside of the box. So I cut this piece 2.5 by 4. But what I did was I did cut a little sliver off. I just kind of dry fit it first to see how it would fit, and then just trimmed a little off just to make sure it would fit. So if it depends on how you fold this in, it should be close to that measurement, but just trim a little extra off. Dry fit it first and trim a little extra off if you need to, so that it will fit inside your box without buckling. Okay, now for the sleeve for our shadow box, I cut another piece of paper that measures 8 3/4 by 5. And so I'm going to score the tab on each end. And since the measurement is not on the scoreboard for this, I figured out what would work. So once I have both of the ends scored for the tabs, then what I'm going to do is I'm taking one of the tabbed ends and I'm leaving it all the way up against the edge, and I'm scoring at the second 3-inch mark. So it's not the one before the 3, but the one after the 3. So right here, this one that's after the 3, and then I'm going to move my score line down to the first score for the 4, and I'm going to score on the 4th one. So hopefully that makes sense. So I find that will make the box work out for this project. Since you are creating a rectangle, the measurements are not on the punch board, but there's always a workaround. So that's why I'm sharing this today, to show you that you can create different sizes and different rectangular shapes. I guess that's about the only other shape you could create other than the square. So then I'm just folding in on my score lines. And then I've gone ahead and decided that I want to decorate it before I fold it all together. So I've cut a piece of cardstock to fit the front. So the front of this measures 3.5 by 5. So I cut my cardstock at 3.25 by 4 3/4. I just cut everything just about a 1/4 inch difference each time. And then I've gone ahead and I'm using some of the dies from the new die set from the Not Too Shabby shop. And the paper that I'm using is from the Not Too Shabby shop, so I will link to that below if it is still available. And all of the decorations and stamp set is from the Not Too Shabby shop as well. And these dies over on the side that I'm using are from the new Snow Globe die set. And so this is in the Not Too Shabby shop as well. And so I'm using those to cut out my sentiment. I also used the two small circle dies to cut out the circles for the front of this box. And so there's so many dies in this snow globe. You don't always have to create the snow globe with it. There's so many different things you can do with these. And Lynn created this die set from LV Handcrafted, and she created it so that there's so many different uses for this die set. So when you buy it, you don't have to just do one thing with it. So you can see today I'm not even creating a snow globe, but I am using it for the decoration on my box. So I have pulled out this little teddy bear that's in the Ephemera pack from the Not Too Shabby shop. And all of this is from the Christmas in July release. And so, like I said, I will list the products below and link to the ones that are still available. And I think this turned out really cute. It's a very simple design on the front, but I thought it turned out really cute. Okay, so here's a little tip. When you are making the sleeve for your Shadowbox, I know I showed this in my other video, you want to wrap the sleeve around the Shadowbox and then glue it. If you try to glue it and not wrap it, sometimes you can get it a little off and it's too tight. So I find the easiest way to make sure that it fits is to wrap it and then glue it. And I always glue the flap going towards the back of the box versus towards the front. But that's really just preference, whatever preference you have. There's no really, you don't have to do it either way. And so I really love how this turned out. These could come together really quickly. You could make a bunch of these up for the holidays and go ahead and make them up now and store them. Or when it gets closer to Christmas, you can make these up. So you can see here I have a sample gift card, and most gift cards, I was measuring them, most gift cards I have are pretty much the same size. So I made it to just fit a regular size gift card. Now I think it would be nice to have one that's Christmassy to put in it, but I didn't have one. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed seeing me create this Shadowbox, and I hope that it will inspire you to, if you have the punch board, to get it out and create one today. And if you don't, maybe you'll still get out your paper and glue and create something today. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.